Tyreek Hill sent shockwaves through the NFL world with a single cryptic post on X this Wednesday. Just a few words, "It's time for me to go coach." That's all it took to ignite speculation about his mindset and his future with the Miami Dolphins. Is he genuinely thinking about leaving the game behind to step into a coaching role? Or is this some deeper, hidden message? Punctuation and timing make all the difference here. It seems like Hill might be considering coaching as a career rather than directing the comment toward head coach Mike McDaniel. Still, why now? Why post something so ambiguous in the middle of a tough season? The timing raises eyebrows. Hill, even at 30 years old, remains one of the NFL's most explosive talents. His ability to change a game with a single play is what makes him so dangerous. But this season has been anything but smooth, not just for him, but for the entire Dolphins team. With a 6-8 record, Miami has underperformed relative to expectations. And Hill's production, while still respectable, hasn't lived up to the lofty standards he set last season. With 67 receptions, 805 yards, and 5 touchdowns in 14 games, his numbers are good, but they don't scream dominance. Last year, Hill was nearly unstoppable, racking up 1,799 yards and 13 touchdowns on 119 catches. The drop-off is noticeable. Some of this comes down to the challenges facing quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. Their connection, once one of the most lethal in the league, hasn't been as consistent this year. Injuries, turnovers, and off-target throws have disrupted the chemistry they built. In last Sunday's loss to the Houston Texans, for example, Hill was targeted 7 times but caught only 2 passes for 36 yards. Meanwhile, Tua threw 3 interceptions in what was one of his worst performances of the season. The offense looked out of sync, and Hill's frustrations had to be mounting. Head coach Mike McDaniel didn't shy away from addressing the struggles. He spoke openly about the turnovers, emphasizing accountability from both Hill and Tua. The bad news first is that there were, in fact, 3 interceptions, McDaniel said. The good news is both Tyreek and Tua have been very accountable, and both say it's their fault. It's the kind of leadership you want to hear, but it doesn't erase the reality of what's happening on the field. This team has been inconsistent all year. One week, they look like a playoff contender. The next, they're making critical mistakes that cost them games. Hill's social media post might reflect some of these frustrations. He's been a key piece of this offense, and while he's still delivering, the team's struggles have to be wearing on him. For someone who's used to playing at an elite level, the lack of consistency from the Dolphins this season could be a bitter pill to swallow. And then there's the mental toll of being a marked man on every play. Defenses have clearly focused on neutralizing Hill, knowing that if they can take him out of the game, the Dolphins' offense becomes far less dangerous. Yet Hill has still had his moments this season. There have been games where he's shown why he's one of the best in the league, putting up big numbers and making plays that only he can. But those performances have been overshadowed by games like the one against Houston, where the connection with Tua was nowhere to be found. It's hard to ignore how far this offense has fallen from the heights it reached last year, and that has to weigh on a competitor like Hill. The timing of Hill's post feels especially significant. The Dolphins are at a critical juncture, trying to salvage a season that hasn't gone the way anyone hoped. For a team that started the year with Super Bowl aspirations, being below .500 this late is a harsh reality check. And for Hill, who's carried this offense at times, it's understandable that he might be reflecting on his career and what comes next. At 30, he's at an age where many players start thinking about life after football. With his personality and knowledge of the game, coaching seems like a natural fit. But the timing of this revelation feels more like an emotional response to the frustrations of a difficult season than a clear plan for the future. What's next for Hill and the Dolphins is anyone's guess. The team still has a chance to turn things around and finish strong, but time is running out. And for Hill, his future in Miami is now a talking point. He's under contract and remains a vital part of the team's plans, but if he's unhappy or feels like the Dolphins aren't on the right track, it wouldn't be surprising to see him start weighing his options. The bigger picture here is about more than just Hill. This season has been a reality check for the Dolphins. Talent alone isn't enough to succeed in the NFL. Execution, consistency, and leadership are just as critical. Right now, Miami is falling short in all three areas. The potential is there. Everyone has seen what this team can do when they're firing on all cylinders. But potential doesn't win games, and it doesn't fix the mistakes that have plagued this team all year. For Tyreek Hill, the questions linger. Is this just a fleeting thought, or is he genuinely thinking about stepping away from the game to explore something new? Whatever he decides, it'll send ripples through the Dolphins organization and the league. Hill isn't just another player, he's a game changer, someone who can alter the trajectory of a franchise. For now, all anyone can do is wait and see what his next move will be.